Tragic Story is a poem written by William Makepeace Thackeray. Makepeace Thackeray was an English novelist, author, and an illustrator. He was born in India. He was born on 18th July 1811 in Kolkata and died on 24th December 1863 in London. A tragic story. There lived a sage in days of yore, and he a handsome pigtail wore, but wondered much and sorrowed more, because it hung behind him. He mused upon this curious case, and swore he would change the pigtail's place, and have it hanging at his face, not dangling there behind him. Says he, the mystery I found. Says he, the mystery I found. I will turn me round. He turned him round, but still it hung behind him. Then round and out and in, all day the puzzled sage did spin. In vain, it mattered not a pin, the pigtail hung behind him. And right and left and round about, and up and down and in and out, he turned, but still the pigtail stout hung steadily behind him. And though his efforts never slack, and though he twist and twirl and tack, alas, still faithful to his back, the pigtail hangs behind him. Written by William Makepeace Thackeray. Irony is a figure of speech in which words are used in such a way that their intended meaning is different from the actual meaning. In other words, we can say that it is a difference between appearance and reality. Sage means a wise man. In this poem, the poet uses the word sage in an ironical sense to refer to a person who is foolish. See the explanation of the first stanza. The first line is given here. Let me read the next few lines. There lived a sage in days of yore, and he a handsome pigtail wore, but wondered much and sorrowed more, because it hung behind him. Now, in the first stanza, the poet tells the readers that there was a sage who lived long ago, and this sage had a beautiful or an attractive pigtail. But the sage was not happy with this because it hung behind him. He mused upon this curious case, and swore he would change the pigtail's place, and have it hanging at his face, not dangling there behind him. In the second stanza, the sage thought of the pigtail for a long time, and he decided that he could change its place. He did not want it hanging behind him. Instead, he finally suggested that the pigtail should hang in front of his face. Says he, the mystery I found. Says he, the mystery I found. I will turn me round. He turned him round, but still it hung behind him. Now the sage became very disappointed, and the pigtail now became a very serious problem for the sage. And he says that he has found a solution for this problem, and he decided to change the place of its pigtail. He decided to turn round, and then he starts turning round and round. But still, even after turning round and round, the pigtail remained behind him. Then round and out and in, all day the puzzled sage did spin. In vain it mattered not a pin, the pigtail hung behind him. The sage started spinning round and round. Now in this picture you can see a top. You know how a top spins. So the sage also started turning him round and round, and this puzzled sage continued to do this for many times, but it proved useless, and he found that the pigtail still remained at the back. And right and left and round about and up and down and in and out he turned, but still the pigtail stout hung steadily behind him. In this stanza, the sage started turning him right and left. He went round about, he went up and down and in and out. He kept on turning round and round. But what he noticed was, he saw that the pigtail still remained steadily behind him. There was no change, so he became very disappointed. And this pigtail, which was very strong, hung steadily, very firm it was, and it remained in the same place, in its original place, that is, it hung behind the sage. And though his efforts never slack, and though he twist and twirl and tack, alas, still faithful to his back, the pigtail hangs behind him. The sage takes so much of effort to change the position of the pigtail, and his efforts did not lose any energy. Even even though he did so much of things, he turned many times, he started twisting and he started spinning. In spite of all this, there was no change. Now the poet uses the word alas in the last stanza because the poet pities the sage. He says that though the sage took so much of effort to change the place of the pigtail, he could not succeed in his attempt. The pigtail was very loyal, that is, it remained faithful and it hung behind him. This is the summary of the poem. Some words are missing. Let's fill in the blanks with the help of the words which is given in the brackets below. Once upon a time there lived a sage. The answer is sage. He had a handsome pigtail. So the answer is pigtail. He was worried and pondered over his pigtail's place. So the answer is place. He wanted to change its place. Answer for this blank is change. He wanted it hanging at his face. So the answer is face. He didn't like it hanging there behind him. The answer is behind. So he turned right and left and round about. The answer for this blank is round. Up and down. The answer is down. And in and out. Out is the answer for this blank, but it still hung behind him. So the answer is hung. However, he tried. His efforts were in vain. The answer is vain. But he didn't slack in his efforts. The answer for this blank is slack. Nevertheless, his pigtail hung faithfully behind him. So the answer for the last blank is faithfully. So I'll just tell the answers. For the first blank is sage, next it's pigtail, the next one is place, the next change, and after that it is face, then behind, then around, down, out, hung, vain, slack, and finally the last blank is faithfully. Meanings: sage, wise man; yore, long ago; wondered, thought over; sorrowed, worried; muse, to think; curious, eager to learn; swore, promise; dangling, hanging loosely; mystery, puzzle; puzzled, confused; spin, turn; vain, useless; steadily, firmly; slack, lacking energy; tack, turn course by turning; faithful, loyal; twirl, spin.